Can you tell me what it was like working with Pip here at UWA?
Well, it was great fun actually, and inspiring, and a big part of that was Pip's, her feminism was inspiring to me as a young woman who wasn't a feminist at the time, and later, more generally, I think I appreciated her passionate commitment to social justice generally, but it was her feminism I first noticed, and that came through in her teaching. Her courses had great stuff about women, courses about women. It came through in the way that she treated students, and particularly women students who were encouraged. It came through in her championing as a colleague of equity issues, and gender was always a big part of that as well. So it was inspiring. She was a very passionate person for what she believed in, and she could articulate that commitment with wit and with acerbity as well.
Elected its first female Prime Minister. I'm not sure if you heard it was within the news. What has this meant for women in Australia?
Yeah, lots to say. One of the things, I better come clean here and say that frankly Julie Gillard's politics are far too right-wing for me. But nevertheless, I think that one of the things it's done is given us a very clear view on how the media and our discussion reacts still to a woman at the top of politics. You know, what is she perpetually being criticised for? Oh, her voice is really ugly. Oh, I don't like the way she does her hair. Oh, she shouldn't wear those suits. Her bum looks too big in those suits. You know, what? Now, when have you seen a male politician being criticised for his hairstyle or his suit style? I mean, really. The nearest thing we can think of is the criticism of Tony Abbott's budgie smugglers. But sorry, if you don't criticise them, you don't criticise anything. But I think it is still a sort of worrying thought that a woman Prime Minister is not getting criticised, or so little criticism is directed towards her intellectual skills, and I don't think she's a stupid woman by any manner of means, or her political skills, or any of those things. Still, there's this focus on her looks. Why isn't she looking like my idea of a pretty woman? Well, I think that's been a bit of a wake-up call, or it should have been a bit of a wake-up call to all of us feminists. I would be pretty sure it's a message that's at least subliminally getting out to younger women in politics. This is what you're going to have to face if you get up to that top level. And, you know, maybe that's something else that we should be unpicking, challenging. Maybe that's another of the interesting things we can do.
It is often portrayed as if it's just trimming the fat off an institution, but let's make no mistake about this one. Universities have not been properly funded for years, and as a result, there is no fat left in the system. It will affect our teaching quality. It will affect the class size. It may affect the units and the courses that we can actually put on. And that means, in turn, that even if all the money is put into schools, and even if we have really terrifically educated young people, they will come through to a worse university system.
Working with Pip on research was always, again, fun and inspiring. Pip's research, well, especially felt like the stuff that we worked on, was again driven by that commitment both to feminism and social justice more broadly. When we worked on family, she was interested in not what the patriarch of the family thought should be happening, but what the rest of the household was able to do within the constraints placed on them. So she did, a great essay on servant marriages. Servants who weren't supposed to be married, weren't supposed to be getting married because they were servants and under other people's authority, but nonetheless they went and got married and pursued their own ends. A fantastic and really moving essay on single mums, you know, women who were having babies and had no means of support in late medieval England and London in particular. Those are the kinds of questions that she managed to pursue through often not very forthcoming sources, and had the imagination to see, I guess, the deeper picture of what was being mentioned so briefly in those materials. And if anybody has been to a seminar or had a conversation with Pip, I guess they would remember her store of anecdotes from the archives, which very often were stories about ordinary people kicking over the traces and thumbing their noses at authority.